My name is Lips Mendez, and this is my pre-test interview for my first participant for my research study. Do you know what implicit bias means?
No, I don't know what it means.
Okay, so implicit bias is sometimes like a subconscious feeling, attitudes, or thoughts, or sometimes like stereotypes that someone develop as they grow. It can be influenced by the way that they were raised or just their environments that they live. So now that you know what an implicit bias means, what do you think about implicit bias?
Not sure.
You're not sure what implicit bias means. Okay. Do you think that people are aware about biases that they have? Have you ever taken a test about implicit bias before?
No.
Okay. And what do you expect your results to show about
Not
it?
sure.
Okay. Do you consider yourself as a biased person?
Yes.
All right. And this is the ending of the pre-test interview. Okay, so this is my second participant for my research study of implicit bias and bias. Do you give consent to be a participant in this research?
I give consent.
Can you please state your name and your age?
My name is Kenya Luna. I'm 24 years old.
Okay. Do you know what implicit bias means? Okay, so implicit bias is like a subconscious feeling or attitudes or like stereotypes that normally people have. They usually get this, like the bias they learn either due to like the environment they're around or like their family. And sometimes it's related to certain individuals or like a group of people. Okay, what do you think about implicit bias? Now that you know what it means, what do you think about implicit bias?
I think it depends on the topic.
Okay, what do you mean? Like, what type of topics would you think that being biased is okay?
Is okay?
Or do you mean like, it depends on the topic because you should agree with it or you shouldn't agree with it? What do you mean it depends?
It depends. Like, it's hard in here. I feel like I'm sweating. It depends. Like, I don't know. It's just like you gotta be careful with anything you say nowadays. You can't really like agree or disagree or anything. Like everything's just controversial.
Okay. And then stereotypes. What do you think about stereotypes?
That's very common nowadays with anything almost.
Okay. Would you say that you have been stereotyped before?
I'm Mexican, yes.
What's a instance that when you say that you're Mexican, so yes, what do you mean by that?
Like people look at me and they'll be like, oh, like she's Mexican, or they'll confuse it with like a different part of like Latin America or something, which I mean I don't care, but it's like for somebody else they could take it to offense, you know.
Do you get offended whenever people stereotype you, or when they use bias against you?
Not really, if it's not like in a disrespectful way, I guess.
Okay. Would you say that you often stereotype people?
Sometimes.
Okay. Would you say you do it like intentionally, unintentionally?
No, I do it intentionally. Or joking around.
Okay. You think that people are aware of their biases?
Sometimes.
Okay. What do you think of the people that are aware of the biases and make them know?
What do you mean make them know?
Like they're biased and they don't care that people know that they are biased and they just show it,
That they just show it?
So again, so you say you think that people are or are not aware of their bias?
Or they like someone's being biased towards them? I guess it just depends.
Okay. And then, have you ever taken a test about this before?
No.
Okay. And then what do you think that your results of this test would be like?
That's like a 1 to 10.
No, like, do you think that the test will show that you are a biased person, that you're not a biased person, that you have a preference on certain groups of people compared to others?
Maybe.
Maybe that you are biased or that you're not biased?
Maybe on some things.
Or some things? Okay. Do you think it's going to show that you have preference in people?
No, I don't have certain people.
No, but yeah. So do you think the test will show that you have preference in
not.
people? Okay. Alright, and now we're gonna start the test. So this is my hypothesis for the first participant, Julieta Mendez, who is 18 years old. So the IAT that she's going to be taking is the religion IAT, and I feel like she would have a preference with the Christian people compared to the Muslim or Jewish people. And then she would rather the Jewish people compared to the Muslim people. So I think like the order that she would place them of more likable or to more agree with the group would be, first she would agree with the Christian people, later she would agree with the Jewish people, and she would not agree at all with the Muslim people and leave them at the end. The reason why I think that she would agree more with the Christian group or the Jewish group more than the Muslim group is because due to this participant's background, to my knowledge, she has Christian beliefs, and due to her Christian beliefs, she seems to agree more with whatever the Christian group would say compared to a Muslim group or a Jewish group. And then since Muslims don't always have the same beliefs as her religion, she wouldn't choose that type of group. As well as due to the questions that we asked her before about stereotypes, she did say that she would sometimes agree with stereotypes depending on what it is about, maybe with people or stereotypes that are related with them. So I believe that she may be an individual that's easily convinced to their stereotypes. Hi, so this is my hypothesis for the second participant. I believe that for this test, she will have a preference on Christianity compared to Islam, as well as to Jewish. The reason why I think that she might have a preference to Christianity is because she is from a Catholic like descent, like her family are really strong Catholic, and as well as her, and she seems to agree more with that religion compared to others. With the stereotypes, I don't think she is really biased. She seems like even though she is Catholic, she has a really open mind about many topics and other things. And yes, that's why I believe that she would have a preference on Christianity, but she won't be biased about the other two categories in this hypothesis, in this test. Sorry. Thank you. So after taking your test, what do you feel about the results? Do you think that the test accurately reflects your implicit attitudes towards the categories that were in the test, which was the Muslim people? Do you think do you feel like the test accurately reflects your implicit attitudes towards the categories that were involved in the test? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. So on your results, it says that you have a preference with Christianity compared to Jewish. In the test results, it shows that you have a preference with Christianity compared to Judaism. Do you think that is accurately yes or no?
Yes.
Why would you say that it's accurate?
Because I grew up in a Christian household, and that's kind of what I believe in.
So do you think that the thoughts of your results, do you agree? Is there anything that you don't agree with, or
Yeah.
No.
so you weren't surprised by the results at all?
Okay.
No.
Good night.
Okay.
Bye.
And then it says that you have a preference with Judaism compared to Islam. Would you agree with that result as well? Yes or no?
Yes.
Why?
Judaism is closer to Christianity, and if I could pick Christian or Judaism, I'll pick Christian. But if that's
So if you were had to choose between being Jewish or being Muslim, which one would you pick? Jewish. Okay. So you would say that the results are accurate based on your beliefs.
yes.
And then there's obviously it does say that you prefer Christianity compared to Islam. The percentage for that is higher than Christianity to Jewish. Would you say is that correct for you as well? Would you agree with those results?
Yes.
Pause. So, okay, ready and go. And how do you feel about taking this test?
It was something new.
Did you feel uncomfortable? Did you feel like the tests were a little bit too personal?
No. I'm more interested on what the outcome or the results were gonna be.
Would you say that it made you question a little bit about your own beliefs?
No.
Would you say that maybe your beliefs makes you a little bit biased with the other religions that were involved?
Yes.
Do you think that you often stereotype these religions?
No. Because I know a little bit about each of them.
Is there anything that surprised you about the results of this test?
No.
Or what about the questions that you were asked?
No, not really.
So, okay. After taking this test, do you think that you have gained a little bit more interest in the other beliefs compared to your own belief, which would be Christianity? So,
not really.
So you wouldn't want to dive a little bit more into Islam or Judaism?
No.
All right, and thank you for participating in the test, and this would be the end. Okay, pause. Look in the front of the camera. I forgot to introduce. And go. And this is our post interview. We're gonna be talking about her results and ask a few questions about what are your thoughts on the results.
It's what I expected him to be.
So this is, we're gonna go over the participants to Kenya over her test results. For your implicit test, it shows that you had a preference over Judaism over Christianity. What do you think about your results? Are you surprised about it?
Yes.
Okay. Why are you surprised? Or what were you expecting your test would show?
I wasn't planning on leaning on to more than one.
More to
More
Jews?
towards
So your test shows that you have preference over Judaism or Christianity. Are you surprised about your results?
Yes.
Why?
I didn't think I was gonna lean more towards one.
What were you expecting? Did you thought it was gonna be equal, or?
I guess, yeah.
Why did you think it was gonna be equal?
Because I don't really lean towards
Either or.
Either or, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So do you feel like the test accurately reflects your implicit attitudes?
No,
No. Why would you say that it does not?
because I hit the wrong key. Like twice.
Okay. So for the keys that you hit wrong, you think that would have made a change in your results?
Maybe? I don't know.
So you would have said that you would have preferred Christianity over Judaism?
Not exactly. I don't really prefer neither.
Okay. But then, if that was your result, you wouldn't be surprised.
Sort of.
Okay. Is there a reason why you wouldn't be surprised?
Maybe because I was raised Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
But yet again, I don't really like stay with Catholic. With a Catholic.
So, how did you feel about taking the test?
Sus.
What were you? How were you feeling suspicious about the
The
test?
questions, the questions were weird. Not
How
weird,
were
but
you-
like it was asking questions like you would see on like on a credit check. I don't know.
So you would say that the questions kind of made you a little bit uncomfortable?
Not really. It was just weird.
Were you kind of scared of the results?
No,
Did you think it was going to show something that you didn't want to show?
not really.
So what's your thoughts about the whole test?
It's shocking
How is it shocking?
because like the results that you get, maybe I wasn't expecting them.
So you weren't expecting to be biased too?
Mm.
Okay. So now, after conducting the test, when we go back to the first questions that we asked you in the beginning, if you were or you weren't a biased person, and now that you see the results, would you say that, do you still think that you're not a biased person?
I guess.
You
Seems like I am. Maybe. A little, perhaps.
Okay, let's see. Is there anything that surprised you by the test or the results? Anything?
The results. I guess that I lean more towards one thing than the other.
Now I'll be going over the results. I will be comparing my hypothesis versus the results. With participant 1, my hypothesis was that she would lean more into Christianity versus Judaism. I was correct. She did lean more into Christianity compared to Judaism. Then with Judaism versus Islam, my hypothesis was that she would lean more into Judaism compared to Islam, which I was once again correct. She did lean more into Judaism compared to Islam. And then for third, she would lean more into Christianity versus Islam, and I was also correct. She did lean more into Christianity versus Islam. I do believe that the reason that my hypothesis was correct was because she is influenced by her religion, to which she is still practicing right now, even though she says that she agrees in certain things and not fully. I do believe that her religion was a big impact in her results. Now, for my results for participant 2, my hypothesis was that she will lean more into Christianity versus Judaism. I was incorrect. She leaned more into Judaism compared to Christianity. Then with Judaism versus Islam, my hypothesis was that she would lean more into Judaism compared to Islam, to which she did. I was correct for the second part, and then I assumed that she would. My hypothesis for Christianity versus Islam, I assumed that she would lean more into Christianity versus Islam, which was I was incorrect once again. She leaned more into Islam compared to Christianity. My hypothesis was incorrect. I had based my results more on her religion as well, but it seemed like she is a little bit more open-minded. She did mention towards the end that she doesn't fully agree onto her beliefs compared to before, as compared to when she was raised with those beliefs. After viewing the results, I see how implicit bias and explicit bias can affect a person's personality, as well as how they view different things. If one person has experienced an explicit bias, sometimes whenever they receive other stereotypes or they are often targeted, they may become a little bit more sensitive towards what is being said to them compared to others. Perhaps if they haven't experienced those type of stereotypes or in events that may become traumatic to them, they may actually have like a negative effect towards their lives. Just like one of our resources named Suffering the Unconscious Bias Definition and Significance, it usually shows how it can affect the self-esteem of a person. Often people don't see or realize that by you stereotyping a group of people or targeting them or placing them on labels just because they look a certain way, they act a way, or they follow a type of religion, you can often make them feel less of themselves. This can also affect the way that they view everything around them. It could also change their decision making, and as well as sometimes they may, if the bias is towards a negative effect, since they already feel that they are being attacked by this negative bias or being negatively stereotyped, they will often move towards that side and become part of the stereotype. Often, sometimes the implicit bias may be caused by religion. For example, with the previous participants, I assume that their results would be a certain way because they had practiced a religion or they grew up in it. Sometimes religions will become part of your trait and your personality, and you don't think that those things will affect you because our unconscious bias it's there. It just becomes part of your processing of the way you view everything around you. And we generally just try to group people because of what they how they look and they see or they think, the religion they follow. So as someone who follows a religion, you may think, okay, I believe this, so I assume everybody else will believe otherwise just because they don't follow the same religion as you. Just like in one of our sources from Capicurian, it's named Sources of Intercultural Empathy, and as well as Personality Traits, Religiously, and Forgiveness in Young Adults by Khan. They both prove how being part of a religion will eventually take over all of your life. At least a percentage of it, like 69% of our lives are often being controlled because of our religion. Due to the beliefs that you have, it just becomes part of you. As well, when you have those religions, those beliefs of the religion you grew up in, it becomes your trait. And then sometimes that trait may make you a negative person, a positive person. And then if you add, whenever people are being a little bit more against you or criticizing you because of what you believe or the way you look, it will often make that person feel a little bit uncomfortable. Whenever someone experienced any situationship where they had been targeted, sometimes you could even say harassed by another group of person because of their explicit bias. So, for example, I had a personal encounter, and I wouldn't say that I consider myself a little bit more sensitive towards any bias that's given towards me. Eventually, some people, you just end up learning to live with it. I ended up just to learn to live with it and just brush it off. Other people may not have the same emotions, since sometimes they may bring you down as a person. Just have on our other cited source from Rusumano and called Implicit Bias. In that source, it explains how events like those can change you and make you a little bit more sensitive and maybe not speak up of what's going on around you. So whenever people are going through that, it's hard, especially if in the past years we haven't seen that much contribution or people standing up for other compared to now. If any of that ever happens, you see it immediately on social platforms where somebody will stand out, and sometimes even it goes far as having the person that committed the often stereotype or the harassment, they get the consequences before nobody ever stand up, nobody will ever talk about it. So I feel like us being aware of the biases, the being explicit or implicit, I feel like it will help out a lot with our community, as especially since, like I said before a few minutes ago, now it's not as common, because I will not say it doesn't happen anymore, because it still happens. If not, the world will be a better place, and so I feel like as long as everybody starts learning from their mistakes and becomes responsible, and as long as people just admit that what they said wasn't all right and actually take accountability of what they did, I think that we will have a way better environment around us, and we will stop the cycle of targeting people and placing labels among them, where we can all just learn from each other and become a little bit more unanimous.